Inside his slot, come back on the angle on the outside. Phoenix passes on his car, the bomb.
And we're back after a little bit of a layoff because, we're busy. We're traveling. Trey's going to music festivals and weddings. And I was finishing out the school year. And then I was in Orlando, Florida for a couple days.
That's right.
So we're back and hopefully we're going strong through the end of the IFL and AF1 seasons. Trey, it feels like we're back and we're ready to go.
Yeah, how was Orlando? I know that's a big cavernous venue, but it's a good one.
Oh, it's a great venue. One of the most historic venues in the arena and 50-yard game. Great to see an indoor football team there. Mm-hmm. The Pirates put on a great show, fantastic production, great atmosphere, and loud. It was loud. It was loud. It was great. The players played well. And they got a big win, but we don't need to bury all the conversations. First thing first, got a crisp apple olipop today. We're going.
Ooh, I actually have a brew.
Oh, he's got a Terrapin. There we go. But we'll crack them.
There we go.
Cheers, sir.
Oh yeah, cheers.
Oh, that was a good.
That was good. Good ASMR for the people there.
Yeah. Yep. So, but before we get to the IFL and AF1, we had a champion crowned over the weekend. And for anybody who listened to this show, you should not be surprised by the champion. The Southwest Kansas Storm, wire to wire, odds on favorites, best team in the NAL by far. Great to see Coach Gary Thomas and the Storm get that win. Huge for Dodge City. Great to see. One of the most consistent 50-yard programs over the last 3 years. It's been great to see.
Yeah, and what a game it was too, coming down to the wire like it did, and it seemed like it was going to be a coin flip game there at the end there, and then just the whole playoffs as a whole were really impressive and great games across the board for the NAL. So ended it off on a pretty strong note league wise.
Yeah, I mean, did come right down to the end of it, but it felt like it was never really in doubt. Like you knew Southwest Kansas could do it, and you knew that they were going to do it, and they just did it. Like it felt like they would. You thought they might, and then they just did. They just start to finish. Trey Self, 350 passing yards in the playoffs, 5 passing touchdowns to go with what did he have? A couple of rushing touchdowns as well. It was just a complete performance. And of course, Demarius Washington, 206, 3 touchdowns across 2 playoff games. Was it ever really in doubt?
Yeah. Yeah. Clear wide receiver 1 for them, stepped up when they needed it to, and was a major reason why they got that first round bye. So,
I mean, clear number 1 receiver in the league as well, in my opinion. I mean, might be biased, but I think Demarius Washington was deserving of an MVP conversation in Southwest because he made, would they have 2-3 quarterbacks this year? They had Self, they had Struck, and I think there was another guy. He made 3 quarterbacks look really good. And so if you're doing that, you're you're quarterback proof. If you're quarterback proof, you deserve, as a receiver, you deserve some MVP consideration.
Yeah, it's not easy to it's, I guess comparatively, like I guess a DeAndre Hopkins might be a good comparison where they were cycling through quarterbacks like it was nothing down in Houston, but he always got his, and he was always a Pro Bowler. So very similar situation with Demaryius here this season.
Exactly, and just very excited to see what happens over the next year with the NAL. We'll see what some of these teams do and what they keep going with. So, any other thoughts on the NAL season, Trey, as we wrap up?
No, overall, I think it was a pretty good success. Obviously, had some speed bumps along the way, and some. I think overall, parity-wise, this is one of the better seasons that the NAL has had in a little while now. Where at the beginning, it felt like, all right, this might be the Colorado Omaha show, and then Salina Southwest Kansas emerged, and then like Southwest Kansas kind of pulled ahead, and then towards the end, Omaha got hot. So you went into the playoffs, and typically with the NAL the past couple seasons, it's been all right, it's either going to be this team or this team. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. But you could have made a case for 4 different teams to make a run and get hot at the right time. So I think that's all you can ask for if you're the NAL in this situation.
Yeah, 100%. So again, kudos to Southwest Kansas, Dodge City, and
yeah.
Given this is 3 straight years, 3 straight playoff appearances for Gary Thomas, I think my early pick would be for Southwest Kansas to repeat and for it to be a Salina Southwest Kansas championship game again.
Yeah.
Those programs, if any program is the pinnacle of we don't rebuild, we just reload, it's them, right?
Right. Yeah, Coach Thomas does a great job of bringing talent in, and it seems like you're like, all right, they might regress a little bit this year. No, they got still did it. They got better. Yeah,
they got better record wise.
Yeah,
obviously it's a different level of talent this year, but still a lot of pieces that would compete at any level of this game.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Trey, we're talking rivalries today because we obviously had a great rivalry that's been enhanced in the IFL. We have an emerging rivalry in AF1. And so we'll just kind of start there with those two. I mean, where you want to start? You want to start arena or indoor? What's the choice?
Let's start indoor, because this past weekend was super interesting too, because it was kind of like a rivalry weekend in the IFL. When you really break it down, you had Vegas, San Diego. They've had some battles over this past couple seasons, and they're going to have more this season. Iowa Fishers, a nice little regional rivalry developing there. Tulsa, San Antonio, another regional one where they played 3 times this year. Arizona, Tucson, like every single matchup, and then culminating with Jacksonville, Orlando. It was just a weekend full of rivalries, and it was really cool to see.
I mean, you skipped right over Vegas and San Diego. I mean, I think.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we were going to circle back.
Oh yeah. I think that kicked it off. That was like, there was one rivalry to watch each day. And for me, San Diego, Vegas was a great one. Game got flexed to Yahoo, rightfully so. It paid off. C-Dog DeGoat was at that game. He says it was a great game to be at. So we love to see that reporting in. I mean, and it was just from start to finish, it was spectacular. It was an absolute battle from start to finish. And you saw both teams give it their best. I mean, Jaden DeLora had one of his best passing games of the year, 220, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Nate Davis did Nate Davis things, 205, 3. And, each of them threw an interception, and, but San Diego ultimately just decided we're going to feed Vander. And guess what? It works.
Yeah. Ed Vander's been out with injury for a little bit now, but this was his first game back, and what a way to make your presence felt immediately. I think the final box score showed 10 catches for Vander, which is absurd. He got like 12, 13 carries, 10 catches. Like they were literally
16. 26 touches for 141 yards and 3 touchdowns. Oh, and he wasn't on the kick returns, but still spectacular.
Good things happen when he has the ball in his hands for this offense, because it seems like at the very least he's falling forward and gaining 3 yards like every single time, and he's just so impactful.
Deshaun Stoudemire tried to do the same thing. He had 8 touches for 95 yards. And it's just, you're seeing this right now with the IFL where they keep really hammering it. One, like that dynamic pass catching back is just becoming such a weapon. And I think it's becoming a really big leverage point is, can you keep that guy involved? And you saw, I know Stoudemire's more of a receiver than a back, but getting him involved, whatever you list him at, he's running the ball regularly and he's catching the ball regularly. And that's really good. I mean, normally they have Josh Thomas, and Josh Thomas was a little bit more contained in this game. But like Ed Vander, Puka Williams, Jimmy Robinson, guys like Josiah King, guys like that are just becoming so critical to this game that they're getting close to rivaling quarterback as the most important offensive piece. Close to. Quarterbacks are still king in the indoor game.
Right.
As we discovered in a couple of these matchups as well. So, but it's great to see parity right now. Like, I think there's a lot of parity right now. I mean, you look at it, who would have thought when we started the year, San Diego would be number 1 in the West, currently leading 9-2. They're a half game up on, is that a half game or a game and a half for the Nighthawks? Whatever the math is. They're up on the Nighthawks right now. They're up on the Rattlers, and don't look now, but Tucson is making a run, and that's probably going to be our 4 teams in the West. But 2 of these teams you would have been shocked to see in the top 2, in the top 4 in the West. And definitely we're shocked to see San Diego sitting atop the standings.
Well, yeah, whoever would have picked San Diego to make it to the championship game and potentially win it all before the season, they have to be just brilliant minds of the sport that just know ball and love ball.
Did you make that pick?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
We're going to need to watch the tape back here.
Who's to say?
We're going to walk the tape back.
Who's to say?
Look at this. I don't recall this. We need some super fans to like document our.
We'll run it. It's well documented.
It's well documented. Okay, Trey knows ball. Ball.
But yeah, this San Diego, I think the defense for San Diego is the story here, where that pass rush, they were getting to Delora, and Delora was uncomfortable for the first quarter and a half of this game. They finally started to get settled in, and Jaden Delora started to get into a rhythm. But there was a while there where he was running backwards more than he was running forwards. And that's never good for any quarterback. So this San Diego defense is getting hot at the right time. The pass rush is getting in there. Ernesto Lacayo was getting active with an early deuce to make it a 9-0 lead early in the game. Everything was clicking for San Diego, and they're looking like a dangerous team, especially with Ed Vander back in the mix.
I mean, big time weekend for kickers are important and kickers matter. We saw that across the board. So, just love seeing that game come down to the wire. Love some IFL after dark. Give me all the 50-yard after dark, Trey.
That's right.
I know you've been a big proponent of that hashtag over the past couple years.
1,000%. Yeah.
50-yard football after dark never disappoints.
Good and weird things happen sometimes at the same time when it's after
weird
dark.
Is good. Weird is good for fans. It's for fans. If it's not your team that the weird things are happening to, weird is good.
Yes,
weird
exactly.
is always good.
Yeah.
So heading to Saturday, we knew Tucson had a good roster, but they had a key question that they solved via trade, which doesn't usually happen. And they won this game with Jerome Johnson playing probably one of the worst games of his career.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest takeaway for this game for Tucson is that Jerome Johnson did not play a good game. Like he was a little messy at times. He made some plays when he needed to. Brandon Mackey got in the mix and was really kind of leading the offense on the ground. But this was not a good game at the quarterback spot from Tucson, but they still won. And this was a game where earlier this season, first 6 weeks of the season, if they had a bad quarterback game, which they had plenty of, they had no chance of winning these games. So I think that's like the difference there, where even in a bad game, Jerome is doing just enough to give them a fighting chance at the end.
I mean, and Drew Powell had a classic Drew Powell game as well. We can't rule that out either. The Drew Powell, Max Mailer quarterback battle continues. And
yeah,
are we going to see Max Mailer come back next week? Because Drew Powell threw for some yards, but 3 turnovers is a backbreaker.
yeah,
You know,
it was tough.
Turns over the opposing quarterback 3 times, you should win that game. Unfortunately, both quarterbacks turned the ball over 3 times.
Yeah, and Arizona jumped out to a quick 14-0 lead in the first quarter, and it was looking like, oh boy, the Tucson magic has run out. But they fought back, they clawed back, they had a big time bend but don't break type of attitude on defense, where they're like, all right, you can go 20, 30 yards down the field, but we're not letting you in the end zone. Yeah, and that happened multiple times.
I mean, and this is going to be an exciting rivalry, especially since there used to be a little bit more of the big brother, little brother thing here with some of the ownership stuff. So for Tucson to now be emerging as its own unique entity, and it's in a good team as well, is great. And I'm excited for this to be a real rivalry out here in the West. I think there's a definite dislike of each other. And I think Tucson wants to beat Arizona to prove that they're not a joke. They're not an afterthought anymore. And they're doing a really good job of showing that right now.
Yeah, I mean, Tucson's running a nice little 4-game winning streak to get to 500, and they've distanced themselves from San Antonio a little bit, who hasn't seemed to be doing themselves any favors. So yeah, it's turning into, all right, this is Tucson's 4 seed to lose, but they could even crawl up the rankings a little bit more. Arizona hasn't looked like the world beaters that we've known them to be over the past couple of years, and Tucson could leap up to the 3 seed at the rate that both teams are playing.
I mean, and I think anybody could come out of the West right now. I mean, you know, Jerome Johnson could have a good game. You know, they barely beat Arizona with Jerome Johnson has a terrible game. What happens when Jerome Johnson has a good game? When we get playoff time, when he has an elite performance that we know he's capable of, and Arizona keeps having question marks, and Jaden Delores running off his back foot, and Nate Davis shows his age a little bit more. You know, it's the West is wide open in a way I don't think we thought it was going to be to start this year. We knew there were going to be some top teams, but we didn't think we weren't as high on a lot of these other teams to be. We had the Western Conference Finals locked in. We said it was going to be Rattlers Nighthawks, and that was, well, no, I said it was going to be Rattlers Nighthawks.
You're speaking French now. You're
I
saying
said it was going to be
French.
Rattlers Nighthawks. You said it was going to be Strike Force and probably Nighthawks, if I recall.
Yeah.
So we didn't have Tucson entering the chat here as a Western Conference contender.
Yeah, it felt like, hey, a 4th has to make it. Throw Tucson in there. Like that's what it was like at the beginning of the year.
It was. Now, what was it going to? Well, and we thought maybe New Mexico. They got Jerome, San Antonio. That defense is good. Tucson, maybe if they could figure out the quarterback position, and they did. And now they
did. Yeah,
they're pressing for that 3 seed as well. And you know, there's a couple games left. They might be able to catch Vegas as well. If Vegas continues to stumble, it'd take a big stumble from Vegas, but it's doable.
Yeah. Tucson's hot at a good time. I'm not going to say it's the right time because there's still a last quarter of the season, so you don't want to get too hot too quickly either. But they're doing themselves favors at least to be able to put themselves in a position for a playoff spot.
You know, and then just touching on, you know, some of the, I'll say also Rands in the West right now. New Mexico wore some great jerseys. Love them, and they pulled out a little bit of magic there with the Breaking Bad. Let's go.
Yeah, it was quite a game. Northern Arizona had control of this one, but they just have a bad tendency of settling for field goals way too often, and eventually that comes back to bite you. Love Manny Higuera; he's had some phenomenal performances this year, but anytime you're going 1 for 5 on field goals, not good. Not great. And you shouldn't be putting them in that position either, where one of the field goals was one of those kick it from your own 4, pray it goes out of bounds, but they returned it for a touchdown. And that really put the momentum in New Mexico's favor. But yeah, Northern Arizona choked it away. New Mexico got their 2nd win of the year, and it's looking like Northern Arizona might finish out with just 1 win.
Yeah, unfortunately. Made a coaching change as well. So best of luck to Northern Arizona. Ron James, good coach, sure, he'll get another opportunity somewhere.
Tough job. It's a tough job there.
Yeah. The other Sunday game, possibly, what'd you say? I'd say second best IFL game of the weekend in Orlando, Jacksonville.
Oh yeah. That was a good game.
It was a good game. I mean, it wasn't as good as Friday nights, but it was a really good game. And despite the thought that it might get out of hand after the first half, Jacksonville worked hard, made it a game. But God, Orlando played its best game of the year. You want to talk about consistency? Orlando scored 2 touchdowns every quarter. The box score goes 14-13, 14-13. Like, you're on schedule, you're on script. Just good, solid game. Paxton De Laurent played what I think was one of his most complete games of the year, really. Almost just a shade under 200 yards total, passing and rushing. 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Got Puka Nacua involved, kept Naquan Murray, Theo Redding, Thomas Owens involved, and the defense. What's so funny?
Puka Nacua. You mean Puka Williams?
Oh, Puka Williams. Yes, Puka Williams. Oh, Lord. You see Puka, and there's multiple Pukas. Puka Williams. And, I mean, I think the thing that stood out to me the most was neither of these teams wanted the other team to return the ball on the kickoff, but rather than just kick for deuces, they tried these line drive kicks that then led to just bigger returns anyways, because the guys caught them on the run and got like 15-yard returns every time anyways.
Yeah, I think kicking is a problem for both of these teams heading forward, where the Pirates did their annual, we're going to sign Josh Gable in June. Like, they've done that for the past 3 or 4 years. Jacksonville, their kicker Mark Orozco was hurt, so they ended up signing Ben Derby, who was with Vegas last year. Derby's okay.
Field goals.
He's okay, but his strength, I guess, is kickoffs and squibs. But that was a weakness this game. Like, they were getting it to Puka in space, and he was getting it to the 25 every single time. So they were making the Orlando offense's life even easier, and that's not something you need to do.
Puka averaged 19 yards a return, matched by Marquell Wade, and Red Douglas had 12.7. Like, at that point, just go for the deuce. And if these guys have the legs to go for the deuce, you need to just go for the deuce and accept the fact that they're going to come out to the 20. But that's where they're starting anyways, 20 or better. Like, and the big thing that really impressed me about Orlando was just the defense stepped up in a big way and really contained Jimmy Robinson. I mean, Jimmy Robinson only had 58 total yards, 1 touchdown. Very mild game for Jimmy when you consider how good he had been playing coming into this game. And, they scored 7 points in the first half.
Well, I think that comes down to a style difference between the quarterbacks, where they pivoted from James Cahoon to Sammy Edwards. That's a whole ordeal in and of itself. I made a video on it on Instagram. We won't dive into it here, but in a James Cahoon led offense, Jimmy's getting that handoff straight ahead, and he's just getting the opportunity to work. That first drive for Jacksonville, Sammy Edwards kept it on a read option 3 straight plays in a row, and it put them in a unideal fourth down situation where they tried to convert and they didn't. And so it's one of those things where Jimmy didn't produce, but he also didn't really have the ball in his hands in those situations.
He only had 10
early
touches.
to do so. Yeah, exactly. So
10 touches
that's the
for Jimmy Robinson feels super low and not how you want that offense to run. He is one of the best offensive weapons in this league.
Yeah.
Feed Jimmy. Just feed Jimmy.
Yeah, half of those touches came late in the game when they were just trying to dink and dunk down the field too. So it's even worse than what it looks like on the box score, because half of that stuff came in garbage time when they were down by 20, and it was pretty much
half his receiving yards came on 1 20-yard catch, and 8 of his 13 rushing yards came on 1 rush.
It's like I said, it's that style difference where Sammy is that dual threat where he's going to tuck it and run because that's his strength. That's why he's this now starting quarterback for the Sharks. But in doing so, you're getting the ball out of Jimmy Robinson's hands, who is just absolutely electric. So that's something they got to figure out and got to find a balance for.
And I will say, I think I think so, I think he started to turn around in the second half. I think he settled in a little bit. I know the offense changed a little bit, but I also think some of that was just, even though the offense changed a little bit and the defense changed, the ball was coming out quicker in the second half than it was in the first half, which is the big thing. It felt like he was holding it just a little too long in the first half. And you can't do that against Orlando. Orlando had one of their best defensive games of the year, and they absolutely got after it. Like, Orlando wanted this game. Before the Pirates moved to Orlando, these two franchises didn't like each other. The two easternmost teams had a rivalry. And now, guess what? Now they're 2 hours away from each other. All bets are off. This is going to be electric in the coming years, and it's great to see, because these two cities already don't like each other from previous iterations of these teams in these locations. So it's great. It's like there's a very clear path for this to become one of the best rivalries in all of 50-yard football, and indoor football. And you really felt it with how chippy this game got. Like, both teams wanted this. Hits had just that little bit extra. Guys were talking after every play, and guys were trying to just give it good to the rivals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can't go more than 5 minutes talking to a Jacksonville fan without them mentioning how many times they beat the Predators. So it's something where, like you said, the cities already have the built-in hate. It's already there.
I love it.
It's already there. So, or the Pirates are just stepping in and resuming where the Predators left off.
Yeah. So, Trey, I think you've already done enough to frustrate the Jacksonville Sharks fan base, but we're going to keep that going right now, because we're going to talk buy or sell in the IFL right now. And we're going to start right off the bat. We're here in this game. Trey, are you buying or selling Sammy Edwards as the Sharks starter?
Man, I got to say, I'm probably selling right now, strictly because if you look at the last half of the last quarter of the season for Jacksonville, it's tough. It's a tough. Here, let me pull it up. They got San Diego next week, who, as we alluded to earlier, is number 1 in the West right now. They've got San Diego at home, at Tulsa, Iowa at home, Green Bay at home. So Iowa, whatever. Tulsa, San Diego, Green Bay as 3 of your last 4. That's brutal. So Sammy Edwards is going to have to get right quick, because Jacksonville is in a position where they win a couple of those games. They probably get a home playoff game, but it's far from locked in at this point. These 3 teams that they're playing are white hot.
Because you drop 2, all of a sudden you're tied with Orlando, and you're staring at some tiebreakers right there if Orlando stays hot, which they look like they're going to stay hot.
Tulsa's arguably the hottest team in the IFL right now, winning 5 straight, and they're nipping at the heels. Like, they're right there.
Yeah, just remember, the Sharks could fall out of the playoffs here with a bad 3-game stretch.
Yeah,
and Orlando, Tulsa, and Fishers could all catch them. And who holds the tiebreakers between Fishers and Jacksonville?
I think Jacksonville holds the tiebreaker there. So Fishers would need to win out, and they would need Jacksonville to totally flame out, totally lose out.
Is it 15 or 16? It's 15 games, isn't it? Or is it
16 total?
16 total. So Jacksonville loses out. Fishers has to win out to get in then. So there's a path for Jacksonville. So you're saying there's a chance.
And that's the thing, where it's like Cahoon was 9-2 at quarterback. You make the change. He drops the first one. All right, you've got 3 of your toughest games of the season to close it out.
It is. It's real hard. And God, I honestly was hoping I would figure out whether I'm buying or selling Sammy based on your conversation. And I can't. I'm honestly, though, I'm going to say buy, just because I watched him really clean it up in the second half against a really good defense. The arm talent is there. The rushing ability is there. He needs to just be willing to put the ball in other people's hands is going to be it. Yeah. And I think that the coaching staff there is going to make sure that he does that. I think that I think this game was a little too concentrated around Marcus Rogers as well through the air, and I think that creates some issues. He needs to just get off his reads and move to his other guys. He needs to move to Red Douglas. He needs to move to What?
Markel Wade.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to
Yeah.
say Marcus Wade, and I knew that was wrong, but I just had. It's late here on the East Coast. It's 8:30. It's past my bedtime. But he needs to just get off of those reads just a little quicker, and I think they're gonna work with him around that. So getting him reps, doing all of that is going to be good. So I'm buying it, because I think that is a tough stretch. But what I will also say is I think the rest of the team will also help carry them to some wins here. They're probably not going to win out, but I think they're going to win at least 2 of these games to close it out. Winning 2 games to close it out is a big step in the right direction for them, and has him playoff ready. They're playoff games from this point out for Jacksonville, so he's going to be battle tested by the time you get to the playoffs. And a home playoff game in Jacksonville, that building's going to be rocking. So I'm buying Sammy Edwards.
Okay.
All right. What's your next buy sell? What you got, Trey?
I mean, let's go. We got a similar situation out in the West where the Arizona quarterback situation. Buying or selling Powell as the starter next week.
Oh God, that's such a hard question. I'm gonna buy it.
Okay.
And here's why. Because I've watched Drew Powell have just absolutely garbage starts to a season, and he just works himself back into shape. I mean, how many games? He hasn't played that many games this year, which I know feels like a wild thing for a wild reason to be optimistic, but he's like straight off the couch. I mean, did he play any games last year? Maybe a couple snaps, but nothing overly meaningful. He's only really started the last 6 games for them. Played 6 games. I think he started the last 6. And this was easily his worst game. He'd been playing well up until now. He played a turnover-free game against Fishers 2 weeks ago, who is, a tough out, and he beat the brakes off of Tucson on May 10th. So just a bad game from Drew Powell. It happens. That's the Drew Powell experience. The highs are going to be high and the lows are going to be lows, but you got to stick with him because you need to count that he's going to work through it. And they also have a good schedule to work through that over these last 4. New Mexico, San Diego, Tucson, San Antonio. I really like – I've seen him turn it on here late, and I think a performance like this will have him motivated to really elevate his game down the stretch. And I think he just brings something to the table that I don't know Max Mailer can bring them. And there's nobody that I could see coming in off the street. Now, that doesn't mean there's not somebody who we can't think of coming in off the street who would elevate Arizona. But if you're asking me, am I buying Drew Powell over Max Mailer? The answer is yes.
So the weeks leading up to Max Mailer being benched for Powell, Arizona scored 44, 44, 63, and 42, and then Mailer was benched. The past 2 weeks, they've scored 36 and 28. So they benched Max Mailer for performing better than what we've seen the past 2 weeks, which is just insane.
But hold on, who did they play in those previous weeks, though?
They played the Tulsa
This
Oilers.
Is big Green Bay
Nighthawks.
propaganda we're getting right now from you, okay? All Green Bay is great. Max Mailer is the former Green Bay quarterback, can do no wrong. We're going to ignore the strength of schedule. We're just going to talk down Drew Powell.
No, I think Powell's a fine option. I think we've hit the ceiling for Powell in terms of what he can do.
This isn't
like
the
so far this
ceiling
season
for Drew Powell. This is not the ceiling for Drew Powell.
He's been around a long time, he's closer to hanging it up than he is starting fresh.
That's fine, but this is not his ceiling. I'm sorry for interrupting, but you can't say this is Drew Powell's ceiling. This is where he's at right now. He didn't play last year.
Why didn't he play last year?
Maybe he was waiting out for a job. I know he did end 24 banged up a little bit.
he came in garbage time last year. That's why he didn't see the field. Dalton Snead was QB1 there. And I think Max Myler has a higher ceiling at this point. And so if you're gonna bring Max in, I think now's the time to do it. Where when you brought in Drew Powell earlier in the season, his first tune-up game was against a toothless Tucson team and then an even toothless-er New Mexico team right after. So I think you got to bring in Myler now, give him the opportunity to get right against New Mexico and ride the reigning MVP.
Is Myler hurt? Is that why we're not seeing him?
No, they said that Powell was picking up the offense better than Myler. That's why they made the change.
I mean, it's possible.
It's possible. I like I said, you have two quarterbacks, you have none situation where Powell's a fine option, but I just think that the ceiling's a little bit higher for Max Myler.
As the IFL trade deadline passed, can we send one of them to Fishers?
You got 24 hours. You got 24 hours to make a trade.
Let's break the internet. Okay, here. I solved it right here. Okay. So Fisher sends a running back to Arizona for their choice of quarterback.
Well, that's the thing. Arizona doesn't need running backs. They don't. They got Ron Brown and Kemo Clark. They're good.
You can always use more Josiah King.
Yeah,
you can always use more Josiah King. Just figure it out. Okay, trade him for a washing machine. I don't care. But let's get one of these quarterbacks in Fisher, please.
Yeah, if only there was an RTR quarterback that could go wherever he wanted. Anyway,
whoa.
Anyway,
setting fire to Shark Nation right now.
But I'm selling. I think Myler's the move. I think now's the time to put him back in against New Mexico.
Okay. All right, Trey. Buying or selling the Strike Force will hold on to the number 1 seed.
Let me see the rest of their schedule here.
I got it right here.
Okay,
I got it right here. They're in Jacksonville on Sunday, Arizona on July 6th, Vegas on July 12th, New Mexico on July 18th, closing out the season at home against Tucson. I'm sorry, New Mexico's a home game.
So 3 out of the last 4 are at home?
Yes.
I'm buying. I think that works out in their favor, and I think they're built for this stretch of the season where the defense is playing well. Ed Vander is back, missed a little bit of time, but he's back now. Doesn't have as much wear and tear on the body, so I'm buying. I think they're in a good spot. I think they probably split the season series with Vegas, but they're looking for revenge against Arizona and New Mexico. They should be able to handle. And if you're going to catch Jacksonville at the right time, now's the time to do it while Sammy Edwards is kind of in flux.
Was this week the first Vegas San Diego game? I forget.
It was. Unfortunately,
so
we had to wait. We had to wait until week 15 for the first clash. So,
what's the second tiebreaker? Do you know after head-to-head?
I'm not sure how to answer this. It depends on what the city of Glendale needs.
Is it venue availability?
Let's say.
So here's the thing. I don't think Arizona's catching them. What I do think is that July 12th game is going to be really important to both San Diego and Vegas. Massive. And I'm going to have a hard time believing Vegas drops 2 games to them, which is why I'm curious what the tiebreaker is. But I'm selling just because where they have a really tough stretch, Vegas gets San Antonio, New Mexico, and Naz around their San Diego game.
Yeah.
San Diego has to play 4 playoff teams in their last 5, and Vegas has to play 1.
Yeah. So
I'm selling just because I think Vegas has an easier path despite only being down a game and a half, whatever it is.
Right.
And then we come down to tiebreakers for the 1 seed.
I think it's conference record, but I don't think they formally released what it is for this year.
So if it's conference record, that's extra concerning then if I'm San Diego, because I have to play Arizona and Tucson to close it out. And so in this scenario, Vegas beats them at Vegas at home, wins that game, tied. And then I just need Arizona or Tucson to beat them once. And if I'm Vegas, I need to just win out, which is very doable with that schedule. I mean,
Right.
I'm not really afraid if I'm Vegas playing San Antonio, New Mexico, or Naz. So I'm selling. Just strength of schedule is so much against them. There are too many opportunities for them to slip up. But it does all come down to that July 12th game. Going to be a great one. Sunday night, 7:30. You'll love to see it.
Sunday night in Vegas, Sunday Night Football. That's a good spot.
Love it. Love it. Love it. You got any more buy or sells here in the IFL as we wrap this up?
Yeah, I'll throw one more at you. Buy or sell Orlando making it past the first round of the playoffs if they make it there.
Can I get clarification around which Orlando defense shows up? Was it the one that showed up Sunday? Because if it's the one that shows up Sunday, yes. They can beat anybody on any field on any day with that defense playing the way it played on Sunday.
Well, that's the thing. The defense that took the field the first time they played in Jacksonville, I think there's like one or two people from that defense on the team
Correct.
still. So in 5 weeks, we could see a whole new Orlando roster on defense as well. So it's never promised.
I'm gonna buy, and here's why. Because when I watch Paxton De Laurent and that Orlando offense, it's a thing of beauty. And where they hit that lull in the middle of the year, De Laurent stopped running. Okay. When I talked to him on Sunday, his words were, I told coach I'd start running when the playoffs happened. The playoffs are here now. We have to win every week. I'm going to run. And when he's running, he's picking up first downs. He's picking up yardage. He's scoring touchdowns. And he's making defenses keep track of him, which means there's one less person keeping track of his 4 stellar offensive weapons.
Yeah.
So even if the defense doesn't elevate to the level it did on Sunday down the stretch, I don't know how many offenses are better than them right now. Green Bay is better in the East, and that's probably it right now. In the West, San Diego, maybe Drew Powell, and maybe Vegas. So they're the third or fourth best offense in the IFL right now. And it's an offensive game. I don't want to bet against it. And De Laurent has really gotten comfortable. He's turned into the pat. I mean, we speculated about this to start the year. We thought De Laurent might be better than Talia. And I think he's much better than Talia based on what we've seen in the indoor game. And when I watch him, it's almost like an old school arena game because he gets the ball, he turns, and the ball's out. He hits his back foot and the ball is gone. He's not waiting. He's confident. He's hitting his reads. And the wildest quote from Sunday, Trey, Les Moss said Paxton De Laurent was the smartest quarterback he's ever coached.
Les Moss has been around the block.
Trey, do you want to name some quarterbacks Les Moss has coached for those tuning in for the first time?
I don't think we have enough time. We got Connell Maynor. We got I think he coached Jay Gruden when Jay Gruden went back from coaching. And we got Browning Nagel, R.I.P. He coached him way back into the there's some dudes that
You're
he's
skipping a big one, man.
Oh, I know. What we got? Caleb Barker. We got Josh Jones.
Aaron Garcia.
I'm going back chronologically. I was working my way there.
Oh, he's trying to pull this chronologically.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a sub feature next week where I pull up old rosters and we just see how many guys Trey can name.
We'll try our darndest. Yeah,
this is gonna be a good one. Immaculate Grid Arena and indoor version coming soon.
Let's go.
Beat Trey score. But just crazy praise for him. And we got an exciting weekend of action coming up in the IFL. You know, Fishers and Green Bay on Saturday kicks off a great weekend.
Big one.
And then we get 3 other games that I'm less amped for, but San Antonio, maybe they punch above their weight class by a whole heck of a lot against Vegas, but they might be hard pressed to. Sunday's where we really get into it because we get Orlando and Quad City in the afternoon, and then San Diego and Jacksonville capping it off that night. Like just chef's kiss. Can you ask for anything better than San Diego and Jacksonville?
Nice little cross-country showdown. Yeah, the thing that concerns me for Orlando and what they're able to do potentially in the playoffs, assuming
We
they make
skipped over whether you're buying or selling Orlando. I'm sorry. We got carried away there
it.
down
Yeah,
all sorts of ball-knowing rabbit holes. Trey, buying or selling Orlando to win a playoff game?
I'm selling strictly because they are a night and day different team at home than they are away. They score 10 more points per game at home than they do away or at a neutral site. And the way the season is progressing, it's looking like they're going to land at a 3 or 4 seed. They have one home game left. 3 of their last 4 are away games. So that one home game, you may ask, is against, Green Bay. So that's going to be a tough one to finish out. And, the struggles on the road, they're there. Like it's very apparent. And offense can get you there, but ultimately defense wins championships. It's true to an extent, even in the indoor game. So it feels like they're going to have to figure out their road woes before the season ends in order to have some optimism. Because if they have to go into Green Bay, if they have to go into Tulsa, they lost in both of those venues already this year. That's going to be a tough one.
No. So that'll be exciting. Great weekend of IFL action. And so, Trey, we're over to AF1.
Let's do it.
And really the rivalry I want to talk about right now is the emerging just slugfest between Nashville and Albany every time they play. Like it's since these two teams started playing again in 24, has there been a game that hasn't been a banger between these two?
I don't think so. I think I was at the first in 2025, the first matchup between them. That was the first one where like Albany kind of looked human in the AF1 for the first time, and Rakeem Cato was starting at quarterback for
Rakeem Cato.
Cats.
The Rakeem Cato experience.
So yeah, like it seems like every single time these teams meet, it's a banger.
Oh yeah, it's been spectacular. Like, and we got another one. We had a record in AF1 for points scored between the two of them. We had Albany suffering their first loss in Arena Football 1. And it just has us all really excited for when these guys play again. When do they play again? They play
2 weeks?
I think it's 2 weeks. That sounds right.
Yeah.
2 weeks from now, it's going to be another banger. 3
weeks. July 11th. Yeah, July 11th.
3 weeks from now when they play again. And we're all circling this as a potential playoff matchup. The question right now is just, when does it happen in the playoffs? Any other AF1 matchups that you're really kind of looking at as a rivalry right now? We lost Oregon, which is unfortunate because that robbed us of the Cascade Clash. And it does, and you have a little bit of an emerging rivalry between Kentucky and Nashville, but I don't know if it's there yet with the Rick House Brawl, I think they called it.
Yeah, I was about to say, the way those two teams were going at it, you would have thought they had blood feuds that went back generations. It's like, this is the first time these teams are playing.
I think it's the carryover of the Billings members of that team that really add to it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think the Cascadia Clash, man, that was the one. And I was really hoping that we would see more of a Nashville-Kentucky rivalry, but I think they only play each other the one time earlier this year, and it was cinema. That last second pitchy woo-woo.
One regular season meeting.
One regular season meeting, yeah.
One regular season meeting.
Hoping to see more of that, but I think Michigan and Minnesota is a fun little rivalry that's developing where they're not right next to each other, but they're close enough.
They're not far, though.
They're in their quadrant of the country, and the games they've been playing have been pretty good. Michigan is probably the hottest team in the AF1 right now, and they held on for a victory against Minnesota in this one, and so Minnesota got theirs early on. Michigan got a little get back in this.
Yeah. So Trey, buy or sell AF1? Kick us off here. What's your first buy or sell?
All right, let's.
Trey's going scorched earth right now. I love it. Get your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. Trey's just alienating all the fan bases.
I'm trying to figure out how to word this appropriately. Buy or sell Albany having a home game in the playoffs.
Oh, Buy.
Okay.
Buy. Like heavy buy. Just because they would need to drop 3 of their last however many games they have left. How many games? They got 1. They would need to drop 3 games with 2 remaining. So
yeah,
sell. You had it there. What you could get me with is buy or sell Albany hosting a semifinal.
See, it was one step there.
You were there.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same wavelength there. Where had they played Kentucky this upcoming week, I think it becomes a lot more interesting of a conversation.
That's what Trey wanted to do.
But the fact that they flipped it to Beaumont
next week,
I think that to next week, it opens the door wide open for them. So they should be okay.
Right. And it's tough for Kentucky because Kentucky has Minnesota next week as well. So we'll know next week where the semifinals will be held more than likely, unless week 13, Nashville has to go to the Pacific Northwest. And the top teams have not traveled well to Washington this year.
It's that jet lag.
If by jet lag you mean a top-ranked Wolfpack defense, hold on, I'm going to make sure I have these numbers correct because I looked at this earlier. Okay. They are number 1 in points against per game at 34. Holding opponents under 35 points a game on average. Number 1 in interceptions with 16. This team is averaging almost 2 picks a game, and they're number 4 by AF1's count in sacks with 15. They are getting after quarter, and that's when you talk about they had a really tough week 3 game against Nashville, where the squad really wasn't what we saw today.
Yeah.
And they have the defense has been spectacular. And you don't want to play them. I mean, they're turning everybody over. They turned Darrell over. What'd they do? They intercepted him 3 times and forced a fumble. Like 4 turnovers for Kentucky in the unfriendly confines of Angel of the Winds Arena. And this defense just got better because, oh, by the way, Jamel Wynn showed up. Fresh off an NAL title. What was Washington missing? A nose tackle. So, Trey, buy or sell? Washington hosts a home playoff game.
At this point, I feel like you have to buy. Like they won the games that they've needed to win. You know, sneaking in another Oregon win there would have been nice, would have been helpful. But this upcoming weekend, you know, they got Malik Henry coming to town. Then they got, you know, Tyler Kolka and Nashville coming to town. So it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. Where they finished the season. They finished their season going to Minnesota. So it's a tough stretch, but not impossible, especially considering
week 14 game we should be circling, because that could be a de facto playoff game for who gets to host. Those 2 teams are probably going to play again at this rate. They're going to play in 14 and then they're going to play week 1 of the playoffs.
Probably, yeah.
But
just a matter of where.
Right. It's a matter of where. But Washington and Michigan this week is a big game. Malik Henry going west on the road against a tough pass rush and defensive backs that are really good at doing stuff with errant throws. So the Malik Henry back foot throws could come back to bite him here. And I'll be very interested to see. We get some AF1 after dark Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then Minnesota's got a tough game next week. And then Nashville's got a tough game next week. Like, Washington closes out with 3 brutal games where we're going to learn a lot more about what the Wolfpack are made of over that stretch. I'm buying right now because they get to play 2 of those really tough games at home against Michigan and Nashville. And they're going to be looking to really prove something against Nashville as Nashville comes west on a Friday night, a 10 p.m. Eastern kickoff game. Don't forget, we get AF1 over 2 days on July 3rd. That game's going to finish on July 4th. All leading into that week 14 showdown between Minnesota and Washington. And again, this Washington defense just got exponentially better with the addition of Jamel Wynn.
But what about the jet lag?
Again, if by jet
I've heard
lag,
time and time again the jet lag was the reason why teams struggled, not because of the reasons you mentioned. It couldn't possibly be that, right?
you could talk me into it if it happened to one team, but how many teams have gone east there and struggled? And
Yeah.
I think that arena is just going to get more and more packed as the Wolfpack look like the real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Washington looks good, especially we haven't even talked about the offensive side of the ball starting to get their act together with Akil Greer continuing to dominate, Deshaun Williams coming in and being that opposite end of the wide receiver core that they needed for a nice little balance. So yeah, Washington good for the Wolfpack getting above 500, and they're looking like if they can host a playoff game, this could get very interesting very quickly.
Mm-hmm. All right, Trey, next buy or sell for AF1.
All right. What do we got here? Buy or sell, Michigan continuing to be the hottest team through the end of the season.
Outside of the Wolfpack, buy.
Okay.
Buy. But buy just because this offense is playing at the level we all knew it could, and they're not making mistakes right now. Like Michigan is lined up, like barring an epic collapse, we know the 6 playoff teams. Because I just don't think Beaumont has the ability right now to punch with these other guys. And once we get to the playoffs, any one of these 6 teams that are going to make the playoffs could beat any of the other 6. And the 2 I really don't want to play are Washington and Michigan, because they have something that they do so well and so much better than other teams. Like Michigan beat Minnesota, and Dan Williams was like ghostly silent in that game. If you're winning games and your best offensive weapon is quiet, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's fair. With Michigan, I don't know. There's obviously dethroning Albany and holding on for the win against Minnesota is big for them and has them in the right direction. I don't know. It just doesn't. It's just not fully clicking for me. So I
will know a lot more after this weekend. You'll have a lot more clarity about how you feel about Michigan after this weekend with the third best offense going up against the number 1 defense this weekend.
Yeah, because then Michigan gets Oceanside back to back on a home and home.
Yeah, and that's probably closing it out with 2 wins there.
Yeah,
for Michigan. Michigan gets 13 games, by the way. I didn't realize they were 1 game up on everybody else.
It must have been because of
the Oregon thing.
So they replaced Oregon with Michigan at Oceanside.
That's probable.
Okay, that's probably what happened. Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Last buy or sell, Trey. Buy or sell. Nashville/Albany will not win the Arena Crown.
Nashville/Albany will not win the Arena Crown. So if I'm buying, I'm saying neither of them will win.
You're saying
selling.
You're saying yeah.
Okay, it's a double negative here. I'm trying to.
It is. It's tricky.
Where I land here. I'm selling that neither of them will win. Therefore, I think one of them will win.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, that's the side I want to be on. Yes.
Okay.
That's the side I want to be on. Kentucky, I honestly thought I was expecting a little bit more from Kentucky. I know we joked about the jet lag, but they had a brutal travel out to Washington last week. And considering their schedule shuffle up that they've had, they'll make the playoffs, and they're certainly not a team I would be picking first to play in the playoffs by any means. But I thought they would be in a position where they'd be a little bit more in control of their own destiny. In terms of like getting a home playoff game or whatnot. But yeah, I think it's Nashville or Albany's to lose at this point, and Nashville's the pull ahead favorite right now.
I mean, winning that game was big for them, big for their confidence. They got, Albany's now lost back-to-back games for the first time. I don't think they lost a back-to-back game in 24. So first time ever that the Firebirds have lost back-to-back games. And that's problematic. And I'm also selling that. I know I came up with the topic and people are probably thinking that I'd buy that, but Albany, despite looking mortal, has still played very good football the past 2 weeks. And I don't think they're going to keep sliding. I think they're going to rally here late. They're going to get healthy. Sam Castronova is going to get back in the groove of things. Dwayne Brown will be back healthy. And Nashville, both of these teams are just so good. And it's going to take such a complete game for one of these other teams to knock them off in a playoff game when Damon Ware and Darren Arbette are both locked in. So
right.
I don't think it's not going to be a walkover by any stretch of the imagination. But my caveat would be, if one of them does not end up as the 1 and 2 seed and they play each other, then I'm buying this. So if Albany slips more or Nashville slips down the stretch here, I'm buying this a heck of a lot more, because if they need to go through each other to get to the Arena Crown, I think that's a prime spot for a letdown. After they feel like, I got through that guy, I'm golden.
Right. Yeah,
I know that's a big F.
Yeah, I just peeked at the standings now. As much as Kentucky has slipped up a little bit, they're only 1 game behind Albany at this point.
Yeah.
So Albany's got Nashville again, and Kentucky's got Minnesota and Beaumont.
But Albany has the head-to-head in that one.
That's right. Yeah. So Kentucky would have to sweep.
Albany would have to slip up twice, which feels unlikely.
It's not gonna happen.
Nashville's the one. If anybody's slipping, it's going to be Nashville.
Right.
Nashville could drop because they got 3 games left. Nashville has a Kentucky game left and a Washington game left, I believe. I think they have a Kentucky game.
No, got a Washington.
They have Washington and Albany. So they could drop 2, and then they're behind Kentucky all of a sudden. Yeah. Because Kentucky has tiebreakers. So
right.
It's
gonna be an exciting finish here.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, none of these 6 teams feels like anybody's a pushover heading into that. So yeah. So anything we didn't talk about, we talked about some of these games a little bit. In AF1, of course, Nashville and Beaumont going at it on Saturday as well. We feel pretty good about how that goes, but the last time Nashville went to Texas, they did have some trouble with the Corpus Christi squad in a weird spot.
In a weird spot is right. And it's they got Coach Solo back down in Beaumont calling plays on offense, and
really?
Yeah, so he's at OC for Beaumont now, which makes things a little interesting considering he just came off the MVP season with Hollins and Pueblo, and he just came off another MVP season with Carl Robinson, who they've gone back to in Beaumont. So it kind of makes Beaumont a little frisky towards the end here, but it still feels like they're outmatched, but just something to earmark here.
We thought Corpus was going to be outmatched last year against Nashville too, and then your boy Josiah King had himself a career day.
That's right.
So look ahead spot, getting ready to travel west. Oh, it's a home game though. Oh, it's a home game for Nashville. I read that wrong. So Beaumont's got to travel, but still, Coach Solo could bring some stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
So it's going to be an exciting end of the season. Trey, anything you want to plug here? We did NAL, we did AF1, we did IFL, and maybe next week we'll think about TAL.
Yeah, we'll see how we're feeling after this weekend of action. We got a lot of cool things in the works. Have episode of Off the Wall canned for this week, which we'll probably release on Friday at this point, but I'll go ahead and let you guys know here that are listening. We've got the legendary Ari Wolf on the program talking through his journey through the AFL and what he's been up to over the past 20 years with the Albany Firebirds, the Philadelphia Soul, and of course all of his great work he did with the league, and talk about the IFL this season as well. So a lot of great conversation with Ari, and stay tuned to all the socials for some more fun and games that we'll be doing as well. At Off the Wall FB, F as in foot, B as in ball.
Yep. And that's it. Trey, we got some exciting things in the pipe, and once we have them locked in, we'll be sure to announce those. Rumors of a Arena Football Weekly live show happening somewhere. So stay tuned, folks. We'll keep you updated, and I will try to get Trey's gear in the mail this week, so that way Trey can match my wonderful Arena Football Weekly casual hoodie.
Let's go. Love it.
So that's Trey. I'm Adam. This has been another edition of Arena Football Weekly. We will see you next week.
Inside his slot, come back on the outside. Phoenix passes on his caught the 5.